The only problem is this is not about the jury anymore. This isn't. Judge Aaron is looking at the pre-sentencing report. The pre-sentencing report represented between 5 years and 7 months. The pre-sentencing report is a neutral report. They're not, they don't have a dog in the game. They're like, yeah, we looked at the offense, we looked at the aggregating factors. I know some people say, oh, it's prostituting. It's not what you did, it's how you did it. It's the difference between me robbing you and being like, yo, give me your money, you give the money and I walk away, or me literally beating you to a pulp, spitting on you, doing urinating, doing all this stuff, and then it's aggregating factors. They're recommending between 5 and 7 years. 5 and 7 years is what they're recommending, and that's them giving grace. Everybody knows this 14 months is laughable. It's laughable. It's too low. Like the prosecution said in their menu thing, it is too low. It's too low for even the departure. It's going to mess up the whole thing. You have to stay within, because if you make it too low or too high, it skews it off, and the government, I guarantee you, will appeal Diddy's sentencing if he gets 14 months, okay? Now, the pre-sentencing report, they're neutral. They don't care. They don't have a dog in the game. They look at what he did. Okay, this was happened. Now, you know the prosecution, they're just savage. They're like, we want 11 years minimum, up to 280 months. Baby, do it for your country, all right? Judge Aaron has signaled that he is not happy with Diddy. He has signaled that he thinks that Diddy does a lot of dumb stuff. He has signaled that he thinks, signaled that he thinks that domestic violence is violence. He has signaled that you admit it yourself. And most importantly, Judge Aaron has been the one to deny bail, not once, not twice, but 3 times, saying he truly believes that he is a danger to society, a sight risk, and that he engaged in obstruction of justice. Again, you don't have to get the whole, and this is where I think Diddy's really, really worried, okay? And he does need to worry about this. Judges are like kings in their own kingdom. You just have to pray that the judge is fair and just. Judge Aaron seems like he is by the book. He seems like he's definitely fair. He seems like he's very gracious. He seems like he's pro-defendant, which, to be honest, even though I think Diddy is guilty as hell, the judge needs to be pro-defendant, because it's too easy for people to have their life pulled away from them and ripped away from them. You want a judge that's gracious and wants a defendant to be able to prove what they did and what they didn't do, okay?
Thank you so much.
That said, Judge Aaron definitely has shown the way he feels, and the judges are kings in their own kingdom. Unless Judge Aaron does something completely out of pocket, even though you can appeal, it is very, very low chance that it will be appealable. Again, what would he do something out of pocket? Maybe sentence him for 20 years, right? Because that's the absolute maximum. And you can argue, did he really deserve it? Sending him to 14 months, that's way too low. That's a slap on the wrist for the aggregating factors. Again, it's not just the charge of what you did. The pre-sentencing report by the probation office shows, and what the prosecution is worried about is how you did it. So there's a lot of factors going in. Diddy is pulling out all the stops. Young Miami wrote a dumb letter, dear Your Honor. I'm still like, at what point does playing stupid not get you anywhere? And at this point, I hope she's playing a character, and I hope that's not what she gave the judge. So you have the Young Miami, Gina Hum came out swinging. Gina Hum came out swinging, okay? Gina Hum was like, yo, A, B, C, D, and F, and this is why I think, hold on, this is my alarm. I thought I was gonna oversleep. I even set an alarm for 8:30, because you know me. It's not too far away from everything. Hold on a second. Gina Hahn, she came out swinging. She wrote a second letter to the judge saying she truly believes. But when I read Gina's letter, and she definitely sounded more eloquent, I said, yo, Gina is up. Young Miami, you got 48 hours to respond. I'm waiting for her montage. If she really loved him, why didn't she show up in the video with them? Unless Diddy thought you were a bad look, but who knows? But here's the thing with Gina Hahn. Gina Hahn was also on some pointing out, I just think if you could, I think he deserves to go home. And I said, okay. At least it was very articulate, and it was very well written. The only thing is, Gina, we saw you on Tasha K. We know what you said Diddy did to you. So it's kind of like, yeah, I get what you're saying, but you know, you already said that in your mind, someone treating you like that is not a big deal. And you think that's part of a relationship. And even someone that treated you like that is still a dear, dear friend. You look the other way with criminal toxicity. So why would we take your word for if someone or not is a good person and actually needs to actually sit in? Hold on. Oh, interesting. There's also a few other things that have come up. Hold on. There's also a few other things that have come up. Oh, let's talk about, if you guys don't know, I did a live that had Jordan and Deontay Nash's letters, Chef Jordan, which were super, super, super powerful letters. Deontay Nash says he feared for his life working with Diddy. He just actually gave another statement. He said his ex-stylist, Deontay Nash, he testified, but he's also now suing Diddy for sexual assault and for assault, and as he should. As he should. Good for him, cutie patootie. Listen to what he said. He said, Deontay Nash is finally speaking out after filing a lawsuit against a disgraced music mogul, saying he feared for his life the entire time he worked for Diddy. And a teaser for his he's doing a CBS Mornings interview dropping Friday. Eat it up, Deontay. They said Deontay, who worked with Diddy, hold on, it's getting hot. Need to move into the shade. Okay, that's good. Sorry, it was getting hot. Marie beat my face, but it's up to me to keep it on. Hold on, let me get my fan really quick. Hold on, I'm just getting my fan. Okay. My fan's dead. Okay, anyway. We just gonna have to ride out with this. Okay, so my fan's dead. Okay, so anyway, Deontay Nash, my fan's dead. Okay, so Deontay Nash said, who worked with Diddy from 2008 to 2018, alleges Diddy strangled him multiple times. And he even told others on his team that he'd end up murking him. Deontay said he always kept a go bag ready, rattling off every item of clothing and cash he had packed, so when push came to shove, he'd be ready to go into hiding. He said Diddy's behavior was treated as normal, with everyone just smoothing things over. Who exactly are we gonna tell? Who are you gonna call? Ghostbusters? There was no one there to save us. Oh, this sun is kicking my butt. I hate, New York weather is like the worst. Hold on. Like the worst. Hold on. Okay, there we go. He did. Just a little technical error. No, the fan's not even working. I need to charge it. Don't worry, I'll charge it. I have a charger in my bag, but. Okay, just a little technical difficulty. All right, so there we go. All right. So he went on to say, he said, who are you going to call? Ghostbusters? There was no one there to save us. He filed suit last week, going after Diddy for sexual battery, human trafficking, and more. He wants compensatory and punitive damages, and he's demanding a jury trial. I will be covering this trial. He said, remember, Deontay testified during Diddy's federal criminal trial in New York City. And when asked during his testimony if he was considering a civil lawsuit, he denied it, saying, I'm focusing on getting out of here. And he got out of there, and now he's doing a civil lawsuit. Now, really quick, we have about 30 minutes. You know what? I want to read you guys Chef Jordan's letter, because I feel like we let this flop. But here's the thing. I really want to read Chef Jordan's letter because I think it's super, super powerful. And I think a lot of people just went over it. Hold on, where is it? Where's Chef Jordan's letter? Do I have it in my photos? Just give me 1 second. Let me pull up this letter. I think it's super, super powerful, and I think it needs to be read. That's Cassie's letter. Where is Chef Jordan's letter? Let's go into the docs. Hold on. Okay, here we go. I got it. Let's get into Chef Jordan's letter. It's very, very powerful, and a lot of people didn't read it, and I don't want to let this flop because it needs to be said. So Jeff Jordan, for whatever reason, the prosecution didn't let her testify, which I think was a big, big mistake, because the impact that she had and what she said was super, 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 super powerful, okay? Chef Jordan said, 1 second. You guys, hold on. The trial ain't started. Hey, Tatiana de Superiors at Portugal, Lisbon watching. Oh, thank you. I'll be super, super safe. Thank you, you guys. Okay, so let's get into Chef Jordan's letter. Is this her? Oh, I found it. Okay. Listen to this. She basically gave a full testimony in the victim statement, and I'm glad Judge Aaron can actually read this, okay? Interesting enough, I find it odd that every person that wrote a character reference for Diddy, none of them, not one person that wrote a character reference for Diddy, not one of them actually testified, and that was Diddy's choice. Interesting, right? To whom it may concern, my name is Jordan Sean Atkinson, and I was Sean Combs' personal chef from the summer of 2007 through the spring of 2010. Just listen to this. During my time, I can say I was extremely overworked, underpaid, mentally abused, exploited, and at one point I was assaulted by Sean Combs. Again, everybody can't be lying. Keep in mind that as you read this, she was 20 years old, Cassie was 19. Diddy knew how to take, I think, young, impressionable people that just wanted a shot. And here's the thing, you know how Diddy's always like, oh, black's excellence, he's doing things for black and brown people. On the surface, it sounds great, but he realized, which is good, that there's a lot of talent in the community, and he would take that talent in the community. And once he got that talent, he would exploit it just like everyone else. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, wait, so now it's better to be exploited by a black billionaire? Then, okay, I guess, right? Keep it in the community. She said, not only was I exploited by Sean Combs, I was also exploited by his HR executive staff. Throughout my time there, they would constantly manipulate me into silence, staying in my position by saying they would get help to ensure I had days off. Now, you guys, I know what you're saying. Okay, wah, but you guys, trust me, this gets good. Okay. She said that okay. Throughout my time there, by saying they would help me ensure I got time off, there was also the time in which they told me to spearhead the creation of Ciroc flavors. I was the one who chose, sampled, and tweaked the flavors throughout their inception, for which I was never compensated. That's millions right there. Again, Diddy stole labor, he stole time, he stole innocence, he stole youth. This was the most toxic and abusive workplace environment I've ever been in my entire career. It was extremely traumatizing to relive all this. It was hard to live through the first time around my mid-20s. Now in my mid-40s, a lot of things I was too young and naive to understand. But the reality of it all is, it's cemented in my mind now. I've spent the past year and a half in a constant fight stage or flight mode, and I'm currently trying to heal and repair all the damage. There was also a time in which Sean Combs threatened my life to keep me silent about the abuse towards Cassandra Ventura Fine. I have a journal from this time that I've never read until Cassie's case came out in November 2023, and it was like opening a Pandora's box, reading what my 20-year-old self had to endure. I was there to witness the start of Sean Combs and Cassie's relationship. This has been an extremely traumatizing time in my life, the past year and a half. Having to unearth the past and relive it all over again. I never forgot what I experienced during my time there, but I for sure buried it in order to survive. I spent the past 18 years building my career and it's a high-profile sector, and this case just has destroyed the life I worked so hard to create. When you become a personal staff to a high-profile people, you become part of a secret society. Discretion is the foundation. I didn't willingly participate in this case. What I recognize now, this is what happens with collective silence. My silence gave Sean Combs the space and the time to grow more violent. When I started, this is Chef Jordan, Diddy's personal chef for about 10 years. She didn't testify for some reason. However, she wrote a victim statement, and this is her testimony because, baby, she is giving receipts. She said, when I started working with Sean Combs, he and Cassie were in the grooming phase. That's what it was in my eyes. She was 19, he was 36. There were lavish dinners, shopping sprees, all of that. All in the guise of creating a new artist. But nah, Sean was working on her, like men with money do. I was there in Miami when their working relationship turned romantic. During that weekend, I saw Cassie, and she was given copious amounts of rugs. I encountered her extremely high out of her mind, and I offered her food to help bring her down. I witnessed Sean cursing his assistant David James out for not having condoms on the yacht. I remember thinking it was crazy and gross. Like, why is he so mad about condoms not being on the yacht? Now think about this, right? Think about this. The fact that Cassie was high out of her mind and Diddy was running around looking for condoms, the fact that he comes from a generation that's cool, that if a woman is high out of her mind, that's what you do to get her to go into bed, I guess. Okay. It was never that serious. It was gross, but it stuck in my mind because that's when I knew this was no longer a working relationship. They were both extremely high the whole weekend. And really, thereafter, I saw Sean abuse prescription meds, weed, and ecstasy. And I would say there was an obsessive nature about them. He would go on drug binges and wouldn't let any of us sleep, let alone get any breaks. I was working 17 to 21 hours a day, 7 days a week. I worked for almost 2.5 to 3 months straight until I had a day off. He screamed and cursed at me when he saw me having casual conversations with Cassie. He said I wasn't supposed to be talking to her if it wasn't about food. He also cursed me out when he saw me speaking to guests at one of his parties. He was watching me from across the room. He then pulled me aside and said I wasn't supposed to be talking to his friends. That he didn't work all these years for me to come and steal his relationships. Sean Combs would curse me out if I fed people without his permission. He made me feel like I had to look at the floor and not make eye contact with his guests. I say he was like a pimp, like he was a pimp does to women. Hold on, y'all, we getting there. This is Diddy's private chef. She wrote the impact statement to the court, but it reads like testimony and it needs to be said. During this time in November 2007, while at the Miami estate, I witnessed Sean Combs get aggressive and borderline violent with the estate manager, Amanda. He was enraged by the fact that Amanda was allowing her house staff to eat. When Sean questioned her about it, she lied and said, I never told Jordan to feed them. Amanda and I actually got into a big argument about feeding the staff because I told her I wasn't being paid to do that. I actually called HR to get clarity. They informed me I was supposed to feed them. One day, Sean saw the groundskeeper making themselves a plate, even though I said they shouldn't, because he hadn't even eaten yet himself. Of course, as they were making their plates, he comes downstairs. Once he sees this, he immediately starts screaming and cursing about who told them they could eat. I stood there silent. I didn't want to get anyone in trouble. I could tell he was furious. Ultimately, Sean's security told him that Amanda told me that I was supposed to feed them. Diddy then called Amanda and I into the kitchen. He started screaming and cursing at Amanda, saying, why you lying? Why you lying? Why are you telling Jordan to feed the staff? Ultimately, he was screaming. He gets up and throws a bottle of water across the room saying, I'm a MFing king and you're lying in my effing face right now. Amanda was saying she told me to only provide leftovers to her staff. I just told Amanda, just tell the truth. I was instructed to get security to separate them, okay? Because he used the phone that Diddy couldn't see and asked Dia, the HR person, what should I do because I think he's gonna hit Amanda. Security, they said, yo, go get security and separate them, which I did, all the while leaving the phone on the ledge so Dia could hear everything. Amanda resigned not long after that incident. I believe it fractured their working relationship. Amanda and I never recovered. She blamed me for the incident. After that trip, my hair started falling out. I was having anxiety attacks with heart palpitations. I asked HR if they could rush my benefits through because I needed to see a doctor. I was diagnosed with stress-induced apalachia and extreme anxiety attacks. I was prescribed Zoloft. Throughout this time, I was constantly calling the office. I was begging for help and begging for days off. And when you work 17 to 21 hours a day, you never really rest because your body and mind are still racing when you lay down. And by that time, you have to get up for the next day. HR kept stringing me along, saying they would help me get days off. I was so young and I just wanted to prove I could do it. I stayed, thinking at some point things would change, but they never did. Listen, you know what the funny thing about this is, and it's not funny, but let me just say this. It's crazy to me that they didn't actually let this woman testify, because I think she proved the RICO. I think she proved that the staff was in on it. I think that through her testimony, she could prove that a lot of people saw a lot of things. I think it's just actually really amazing that they actually left this gem on the ground.